Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of The Strain. This week's episode is entitled By Any Means. Season 2, Episode 2, of course. And, I know I did my review on the premiere last week, and I did say I enjoyed it in the video, but I just want to say after it settled in a little bit, I have to say it's really, excuse my language, it's just really fucking awesome to have the show back. I've just been enjoying the hell out of it. You guys can check out my tribute video I just made to it. It's on my channel. I used the song Stop and Stare, so take a look at that. I think it turned out pretty well. And it's a couple things here and there, but still like what I did with it. And yeah, so I'm really hyped about the show now. It's that and Penny Dreadful are my two favorite shows, like still airing new episodes, you know. I know Penny Dreadful's off right now, but you know, it's still like a currently airing show, you know what I mean by that. I love The Walking Dead and stuff, but really, I've said in past videos, I think The Walking Dead used to be better in earlier seasons when it was handled by different showrunners and, you know, had more of the original cast involved in the story. I still love the show, I still love The Walking Dead, of course, but I actually put The Strain and Penny Dreadful both above it at this point, to be completely honest. And, so, well, this week's episode of The Strain didn't really excite me as much as the premiere last week. I did think this is a solid follow-up to what we've seen last week. In particular, the episode was filled with a few flashbacks to when Eldridge Palmer and, of course, Abraham first met, and that explained more about the cane that the Master possessed and how Abraham got hold of it in the first place. But we'll get more into that in a minute. The personal highlight of the episode to me was Fet and Dutch hooking up towards the early part of the episode. That was awesome. And you know, it's not just a completely random thing either, because if you guys remember back in season 1, they were kind of flirting around a little bit. And I was kind of expecting him to sort of go for it at some point. And before they did that, we also got some really cool action out of the episode too, because they're testing out these different types of grenades, you know, to sort of like disorient the Strigoi before, you know, of course, killing them, obviously. And it seemed to be pretty effective. I really liked the effects and the way that was all shot. I really enjoyed that. And like I said, they were in that pool clearing that building, and they were sort of, you know, trying to clear like one block at a time, or, you know, like progressively anyway. It seems like kind of a tedious, almost hopeless idea to, you know, clear the city and stuff like that, but, you know, really you gotta start somewhere. You gotta do something about it, you know. And then they flirted around, and they ended up skinny dipping in the pool there, and then of course kissing and stuff. So there you had that. I thought that was awesome, but it does make me worry about Dutch for this season a little bit, because I also did see like a season 2 like general preview. And yeah, it has me worried that, you know, with Dutch and Fet hooking up, that Dutch is more at risk at this point. I'm not so worried about Fet, but Dutch, she feels slightly more expendable, even though I really like her character. She is a little more expendable than Fet in the show. And yeah, so I might want to be on the lookout for her this season. But I hope it doesn't happen, but I have a bad feeling about it. But, yeah, so that was really good. I like that a lot. And we also seen Eph and Nora, you know, they're working on an infection for the infection, basically. You know, they've come to the conclusion that they really can't cure this thing completely. They can't really make a vaccine for it because of the, you know, the way the organs are destroyed and the way the new ones come in and stuff like that for the vampires. And so they decide they have to basically kill the infection with another infection, you know, at least like neutralize or like at least kill the Strigoi, you know, a more efficient way to kill him potentially. And we seen, also the actor who was playing one of the, you know, who was playing the husband that was being held by Eph and Nora. He had a small role in season 3 of Being Human. If any of you guys ever watched that show, favorite series of all time, by the way. He played Pete back in season 3 of Being Human, so it's kind of cool to see him. Even if he is a full-on vampire now, you know, it's still kind of just cool to see people from other shows you can recognize, you know. But, so, you know, they were experimented on, and, you know, it was kind of harsh, it's kind of cruel, you know, that they're just, like, kind of tricking them into doing it. Not really tricking them, because they were honest with them pretty quickly, but, you know, just, you know, it feels like a little inhumane with what they were doing. But as Abraham said, it's still it's still being done for a good cause, and like the few for the better of the all. I'm not saying that right, but the sacrifice of the few, for the greater good of the all, I guess, or something along those lines. You guys know what I'm trying to say. I think maybe, but yeah, and they did agree to it, but of course, it was hard for the husband to see his wife in pain, and vice versa. But they did actually get something out of this. We actually didn't expect them to find anything for what they're trying to do this soon in the season. I thought it was going to be pushed back a little bit more, but they did seem to find potentially something they can use for what they're planning on. So they're probably going to be putting it to the test within the next episode or two, I'm guessing. And so that should be good to see. And of course, we've seen Eph. He's still going back to some of his drinking habits and stuff like that. And some people are criticizing the focus on a character, dealing with that. But I think it's fine. And I can kind of understand where he'd be at after the way he's seen his former wife. The way she was at the end of season 1. And the only thing I'm not feeling with that side of the story on this season is Max Charles playing Zach. At first, I thought it was a decent recast, but now at this point, I wish we had Ben Hilland or Highland. I'm sorry, I don't remember how to pronounce his name right. But I wish we had the original actor back for Zach instead of Max Charles. Max Charles, there's just something off about him in the role. I'm not sure if it's him himself or just a miscast or what, but he just feels a little bit awkward, and the way he's coming in, sort of questioning Eph and Nora and what they're doing every step of the way, acting like he understands all this when he really doesn't fully comprehend what they're trying to do or why they're doing it. He just comes off pretty annoying, and I feel like if it was the original actor playing him, it'd be a little bit more, you'd feel a little bit more for him in that situation instead of being more annoyed by him. But it's not awful, it's just one of the obvious weaker parts of the show at this point. But who knows, maybe he'll do better a little bit later on when certain other parts of the story come up, like we know, Zach's mother, of course, Kelly, she has more control over herself now as a vampire. She's still evil, she's still corrupted, of course, and stuff like that, but I'm very much looking forward to when she eventually does track down our, group and what's going to happen with that. Maybe we'll see something more come out of Zach at that point, But, yeah, so still enjoyed the stuff with Eph and Nora in this episode, though. And, like I said at the beginning of the review, the main parts of the episode involved some more Abraham flashbacks, which I really loved when they did it back in season 1. Showing what happened to his wife and his time at the camp and stuff like that. And this apparently took place, when they showed the stuff at the camp back in season 1, then they kind of jumped forward a little bit and showed what happened to his wife involving I-Course and stuff like that. What they showed here takes place somewhere in between that, I think, because obviously his wife's still alive in the flashbacks we've seen tonight. And I did enjoy what we've seen because we get that, you get more of an understanding of, the relationship, not really the relationship, but how Abraham and I-Course know each other. So that was good. Of course, we've seen a younger Fitzwilliam, wheeling Palmer. Sorry, I meant to be saying Palmer this whole time. I apologize, but yeah, it was just good to see we get more of an understanding of the connection between Abraham and Palmer, I should say, and tied into how the end of the episode went as Abraham was trying to search for this book, and in the present time he's becoming increasingly frustrated. We see how he got that cane from one of the other former Nazis that had been at the camp he was being held at, back in the Holocaust and stuff like that. Which I love those flashbacks back in season 1, as I said. And we've seen a chase between Abraham and him, and it looks like Abraham had gotten the cane in that sense, and then the guy proceeded to be attacked and turned by I-Course. And yeah, sorry, I have a lot of names jumbling around in my head right now. And so I wonder if you guys remember back in the very early part of season 1 when I-Course and Abraham sat down. They had that phone call, and Abraham was being held in that jail cell. I wonder if that was the friend that Abraham ended up cutting to pieces. If he was really turned into a vampire, and I-Course didn't just say that to kill him. But yeah, so I think it'd be interesting to actually see Abraham killing that guy with a sword and cutting him to pieces and dumping him in the sea. I feel like we could see that at some point. If that is the guy, I forget the name that was dropped in season 1. I'd have to go back and watch that. But still, either way, I really like the flashbacks. And again, it gives us a tie back to Abraham's search in the present day. And at first, he's becoming increasingly frustrated. And I really like the friendship that we see between Abraham and Fet. I feel like Abraham could potentially see a younger version of himself in Fet. More youth in him, so he's able to do more things that Abraham cannot anymore at this point. That could be the case. But I always like how Fet's trying to help him and look in on him and stuff like that, so I really like that dynamic. And Abraham seemed to find a clue to the book that could potentially contain an idea or point towards exactly what it would take to really kill the master. Because obviously the son wounded him, and yes, maybe if the master had been held outside, maybe he would have eventually died from it because he was wounded from it. But this book apparently contains a thing that could actually full on kill the master for good, permanently, and more efficiently too. So I imagine it's going to take us a few more episodes to really see that book get into the possession of our hero's hands here. But it's still an interesting plot element right now. And it'll be interesting to see what exactly that does. Because at the same time, we have the master, about to go into a new body. We see at the beginning of the episode, I-Course talking to, the rock star who was turned into a vampire back in season 1. And I'm guessing, I'm sort of I have a theory right now that maybe that rock star is the one whose body is taken over by the master. And I think that'd be a decent idea. Because then we get a different type of main villain and stuff like that, because he'd be more agile and faster and stuff like that too, But yeah, so I really liked all that. And we also seen Kelly at the end, with the blind children that were turned into vampires last week. Very creepy, very eerie. Love the atmosphere that comes with them. She goes back to the Goodweather house and takes some of Zach's clothes and has them sort of get a scent of it. Then she sends her children and her pets off to find her son, as she looks for him, of course, herself. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that, as I said earlier. And yeah, so there's my review of season 2 episode 2 by any means. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If there's anything I forgot to mention or something you want me to elaborate on, feel free to leave a comment below. Would love to discuss with you guys. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really loving the strain right now. I'm glad it's back. It's definitely rising within my favorite shows. And yeah, so hope you guys like this video, and catch you guys next time. And peace.